Hey everyone, Mia here from Resonance Astrology, and welcome to this week's astrology overview from December 1st till and with December 7th of 2025. And before we fully dive into this week, I just want to give and shout out a quick reminder that my 12 Holy Nights ritual container that I am facilitating and co-hosting with Josie is now open. And if you're feeling called to end this year and also begin the next year on a more intentional, symbolic, and deeply enchanted way, this is truly one of the most powerful portals of the year to do so, especially because next year is very, very fiery. And as a matter of fact, today with Josie, I did record a yearly astrology outlook for the year of 2026. This is also why I'm dressed up all in red, because it's going to be a fiery year. The element of fire is very prominent. But I just want to mention that this is in German. I chose consciously to do this in German just because at the end of the day, I'm from Switzerland and I love doing things on English. I love appealing to an international audience. I still also want to appeal to the folks here. So I did do this one in German, but I do also plan on doing a bit of a shorter, which is hard for me. It's hard for me to keep it short, but a shorter video of the yearly outlook of 2026. Let me know if you're interested in that, if you even want that. There's a lot of astrologers talking about everything right now, so I do want to do it from a very intentional place of giving you information that is different or has a different outlook, right? Because everyone has unique viewpoints. And that will be readily very soon. I will also upload it on my channel, but again, it will be on German. So yes, that is what I want to share here. We also have a video on the Holy Nights, which I'm going to link up here if you're interested in hearing more information. And the link to sign up is going to be down below. So let's focus on this week. This week is very much a reorienting week. We are coming out of the retrogrades, slowly but surely. Mercury just stationed direct, Saturn just stationed direct, so there is a lot of integration that is happening. We do have a bit of air and fire. The new word combining air and fire is ire, apparently. So air and fire momentum that is building up. There is some final emotional processing going on. We have a closure of the water trines. So yes, we're starting off this week where the moon is in a wax and gibbous phase. We're building towards clarity. Sagittarius season is also lifting the heaviness. I don't know if you have noticed, but things do feel lighter also since Venus moved into the sign of Sagittarius last weekend. We also have the highlight of this week, which is the Gemini full moon happening midweek from the night of Thursday to Friday. And we also have that new moon in Gemini is ruled by Mercury, a Mercury that is still in the sign of Scorpio, a Mercury that is just newly direct. So there is a lot of emotional integration that is happening with this full moon in the sign of Gemini. And yes, Jupiter and Saturn are still in water signs. It is a bit of the last soak in the deeper layers. So this is a pretty deep moon, a pretty deep full moon. Let's not underestimate it. I know Gemini and Sagittarius as well, they like to be a bit of a trickster and bring in the fun. But this week is still a bit more serious. But, you know, at the end of the day, I do think there is a lot of medicine that we are also getting from Mars, Sun, and Venus being in Sagittarius right now, making it a bit easier to integrate all of this. And also not forget to also have fun. I think that is so much the medicine of Sagittarius, this Jupiter-ruled sign, where it's like, yes, there is a lot of heavy processing going on, but let's not forget to also have fun, to also just read a book for the sake of reading a book, to watch a movie just for the sake of reading a movie, fully concentrated, fully indulging, without the phone, without checking your phone. Yes. And by next week, you know, Mercury is also going to re-enter the sign of Sagittarius. We're having Neptune stationing direct next week. So yes, and this week we're doing some energetic clearing and clarity so that we can enter the other week with a new, we're entering a threshold moment again here. That's what I'm trying to say. So on Monday, today, December 1st, happy December, by the way, everyone. We're entering the last month of the calendar year on a Monday. Exciting. I mean, you guys probably know if you watch astrology that yes, we are indeed ending the calendar year, but the actual astrological new year is only beginning in March when the sun enters the sign in Aries. This is for me always the official start of the new year. But there is a threshold, the time outside of time, the holy nights, where we are getting insights and symbolisms. So there is still, I feel like it's a beautiful time at the end of the calendar year to really tune in. But this is the point, right? It's the midst of winter. It's time to fully chill back and close back and just get omens and symbols and synchronicities and dive into our own metaphorical inner cave. It's not a time of doing yet. It's a time of simmering. So yes, but we are starting this week with a waxing gibbous moon in the sign of Aries, which can bring a bit of a restless urgency energy to forward momentum, right? Saturn and Mercury just stationed direct, so there is a bit of a spark of like, I want to move again, I want to get things going, especially after that heavy Scorpio season cycle. So watch out for impatience and channel it into direction setting, okay? You don't have to fully go after it yet, but just like set your direction, because this is going to be important for the full moon. And then on Tuesday, December 2nd, the moon enters the sign of Taurus, and we have Venus in Sagittarius sextiling Pluto in Aquarius. So we have a bit more grounded energy on that day. Taurus moon always reminds us to go to our simple pleasures and our embodied choices. Venus and Pluto together in the sign of Sag and Aqua. There is an urge for emotional truth-telling and deeper honesty, especially when it comes to our relationships, how we are sharing our values. So there is subtle but powerful realignments of what we value, what we want, and what we want to communicate, like how we want to live out our relationships. Then on Wednesday, December 3rd, there aren't any major transits happening that day. On Thursday, December 4th, we have the moon entering the sign of Gemini, so the build-up begins. Nervous activation, ideas, conversations. There is information and emotions that are intertwining, and we're preparing for the full moon, which we are entering into right now. The full moon in Gemini, at least here in Europe, happens after midnight, so officially happens on the 5th of December. But I think it's safe to say it's happening during the night from the 4th to the 5th of December this week. So watch out for that day, because this is going to be the most powerful day of the week. We also have on that day, we also have the Sun in Sagittarius at the bending of the nodes, and we have Mars in Sagittarius trining Chiron in Aries. I'm gonna get to that in a bit, but let's talk a bit more about this full moon in the sign of Gemini. We're gonna break it apart, because this is a Mercury ruled full moon, okay? And it's with a Mercury that is in Scorpio and a Mercury that just newly stationed direct. So there is a clearing that is going on, and Mercury is also, by the end of this week, gonna form the last water trines, so we are kind of closing a cycle here, and there is a lot of emotional revelations that are up in the air, probably a lot of mental aha moments. Let's not forget that at the end of the day, Gemini is a very mental energy. But I like this combination right now with Mercury being in the sign of Scorpio. Depending on where Mercury is when we have that new and full moons in the sign of Virgo or Gemini, they can be very head heavy, and it can be very hard to get into our bodies because it's so head focused. Mercury ruled moons have a very hard time feeling their emotions. They're very good at explaining and thinking their emotions and not realizing I'm not feeling them. But with Mercury still in a water sign and the water trines being active, I do think there is a very nice synthesization and alchemy that is going on here that actually helps us to synthesize, to bridge the gap that we so often have between our mind and our body and our emotions. So there might be truths that are surfacing that you're finally able to, grasp and fully feel. And probably closure around communication loops from the retrograde. It's a good time to clear everything up that has not had the opportunity to be cleared up. And we're getting insights into where our mind has kind of been stuck and where we want to go. So sometimes we think it's like this mental thing, but it's actually a bodily thing. And if we actually just take the time to sit down and tap into the emotions and feel the emotions, and we break that barrier, and all of a sudden there's more clearance energetically, then we realize like, oh, it wasn't just in the head, it was also in the body, but I had to process it in both ways. And I do at this point, there's a post I found today, which is from a while ago, but it's from Atmos, and I think it's just so lovely here because it's beautifully explaining the Scorpio energy. So I'm gonna read it to you, okay? It first starts off with a quote from Khalil Gibran that says, "Many of us spend our whole lives running from feeling with the mistaken belief that you cannot bear the pain. But you have already borne the pain. What you have not done is feel all you are beyond that pain." Lovely quote. And now let's get into the written part with Atmos that was just done so beautifully. Yes, so let me just start reading, okay? Sit back. This is story time. Just listen and relax. Venomous stingers, clawing pincers, spindly legs, and up to 12 eyes. For some, scorpions are the subject of nightmares. In fables and folklore, they are nefarious creatures. The ancient Greeks named the zodiacal constellation Scorpius or Scorpio for the scorpion said to have slain the heroic hunter Orion, forever immortalized, chasing him across the night sky. And while certainly capable of causing pain, real-life scorpions also possess a few surprises. While commonly thought of as insects, scorpions are arachnids. I'm not sure how to pronounce this word right. Arachnids. Just excuse me for butchering it. Insects only possess 6 limbs, whereas scorpions have 8 legs, as well as their 2 pincers. And they have crawled this earth far longer than we have. In fact, the recent discovery of a 437 million year old scorpion's fossil has led scientists to believe that this was the first creature ever to emerge from the ocean and dwell on land. For comparison, modern humans only evolved around 300,000 years ago. As much as we view them as harbingers of death, scorpions ushered in a new era of life. Death and rebirth. Scorpions are survivors. They can be found in all kinds of harsh habitats, from deserts and rainforests to snow-covered mountains and deep caves. They typically feast on insects, but have developed inventive ways of eating small rodents and lizards. They secrete digestive fluids that liquefy soft flesh and then devour their prey in pieces. And when food is scarce, they are able to slow their metabolisms down, requiring them to need little oxygen and even 1 meal per day. Scorpios are so survivalistic. Scientists have even frozen scorpions overnight only to watch them unthaw and crawl away unscathed the next day. Guys, this is the power of Mars. This is the power of feminine yin Mars energy. There are around 2,000 known species of Scorpios, each with toxins specialized to suit its lifestyle that it can inject and control the amounts through its stinger. And while all are venomous, only between 30 and 40 species can kill a person. The deadliest, the Deathstalker, produces a potent cocktail of neurotoxins so rare it's considered to be the most valuable liquid in the world at 39 million per gallon. Like many other lethal poisons found in nature, it can also be used for healing. It's sought after for use in treating cancer, malaria, and tuberculosis. which always brings me back to the famous quote of Paracelsus, "Bless the Swiss people." The dosage makes the poison. The dosage does indeed make the poison. And by the way, I'm reading all of this because this lets us understand the Scorpio and the Scorpio energy on such a deep level. Because so often I feel like, it's like the poison is also the healing property. Okay, let's continue reading. Scorpions participate in elegant courtship rituals, a macabre waltz known as the promenade à deux. Males will grasp females and sway back and forth in a dance-like motion, their tails curled above their backs. This choreography allows the male to find a smooth surface to deposit his spermatophore, which the female then takes. They may even kiss, grasping one another's mouth parts as they sway. Scorpions are also rare among arachnids, in that mothers birth live young and nurture them. Babies spend their first weeks safely nestled in their mother's back. As nocturnal animals, scorpions are most alive in the night. Perhaps most striking of all their unusual traits is that they glow in the dark when cast in ultraviolet light. This greenish-blue illumination is caused by fluorescent chemicals on their exoskeletons. It's still a mystery why this occurs, but scientists think it could be to help protect them from harsh sunlight, hunt, or even to find each other in the dark. Under a moonless sky, they can be spotted as far as 33 feet away. You see the instinctual nature of Scorpio here? I mean, it's just so impressive. There is so much pain in the world right now. And, funny, this article is from 2 years ago. Still holds true. There is so much pain in the world right now, so much poison, endless temptation to turn away, avert our eyes, and hide. More than ever, people seem poised to lash out at one another. But there is also tenderness to be found, even in the most unlikely sources and harshest environments. A soft glow, dancing in the dark, life and death, two tales forever intertwined. I don't want to numb myself to miss this aliveness. I want to be here while I'm here, even when it stings. I think this is such a beautiful meditation on this Mercury Scorpio full moon in Gemini that is ruled. I said that very weirdly. I think this is a beautiful meditation for this Gemini full moon that is ruled by Mercury in Scorpio currently. I think it's so brave, and I think this is Mars again. And this is that yin feminine Mars quality, okay? It's not that Mars in Aries that is outwardly focused, that is brave and taking action. The braveness and the courage of Scorpio, of yin feminine Mars energy, is to, despite the pain, want to be here while you are here and feel alive even when it stings. Even when it stings. There is an urge in Scorpio, and I would say somehow a bit of it in all the water signs, but especially in Scorpio, to experience life fully. And what is it not but to experience life fully if it is to go through the range of human emotion at all possible sides and slides that there even is, all facets, wanting to experience each nooks and crux fully, even when it stings, actually exactly when it stings, to be here, to feel fully alive. We cannot feel fully alive if we don't let ourselves embrace fully every season that life wants to bring us, and if we are not brave enough to go through the notions that want to come up, that want to be transformed. This is the transformation of Scorpio. But again, oftentimes, the only way Scorpio transforms, it's when it's pushed into that survivalistic edge, where it feels like, okay, and now I surrender, and now I die, and then I can resurrect again. Isn't Scorpio just beautiful? It's really, and I know I'm biased here as a Sun and Scorpio rising, but it's really hard to not deeply love that sign. There's a reason why I feel like it's the sign that most people obsess about, because it's just so interesting. I mean, look at that article. Aren't Scorpios, like in nature, the actual scorpions, aren't they such interesting creatures? I mean, it's hard to not be freaking fascinated by them. I get why people are so fascinated by Scorpios from a zodiacal perspective as well. And this moon is inviting that. And with the Gemini energy, okay, there's always an aspect of curiosity. I think this is the first step in going to the underworld and letting the transformation take place. Because let me go back to that first quote. Many of us spend our whole lives running from feeling with the mistaken belief that you cannot bear the pain. But you have already borne the pain. What you have not done is feel all you are beyond that pain. And this is the question of Gemini. Who are you beyond that pain? Who am I beyond that pain? And am I curious enough to find out who I am beyond that pain? Woo! It's a lot, but I'm here for it, even if it stings. And now let's briefly talk about the additional transits that are happening this day, which is the Sun and Sagittarius at the bending of the nodes. This is a karmic redirection where we have choices to make, super fitting. We also have Mars and Sagittarius trining Chiron and Aries, which is courage to act despite past wounds. I mean, it's so helpful for this full moon. Healing through movement, truth, and initiative. Oh, yes. So yeah, this full moon is both mental clarity and emotional release. There's so much alchemy that is going on, but it's liberating. It's liberating. Okay, and then we get into Saturday, we get into the weekend. The moon enters the sign of Cancer, and we also have Mercury in Scorpio, trining Jupiter in Cancer. So there is a heart opening that is going on, emotional coherence that returns. There's probably themes of like, where do I fully belong? And it's a huge day for intuitive downloads after that retrograde period. Words carry weight, memories resurfacing with meaning. So it's a beautiful day for journal work or just going over everything that this retrograde was provoking in your life. And I do also just want to mention, since we are at the last bit of the water trines forming, I did make a video about surrender and letting go just recently, which is really here to help you tune into how you can work with that energy, with that water energy. Because I feel like so many people talk about surrendering and letting go, but what does that actually mean? So that's why I titled that video, like, what the F? How TF do you actually surrender and let go? So if you want to work a bit more closer with that energy, definitely check out that video. I'm going to put it here, and I'm also going to link it down below in the description, so maybe you can watch that next. It's here to help you do that, because, oh, do we still need that this week. And then on Sunday, December 7th, we have Mercury and Scorpio trining Saturn Pisces. Mind you, both of these planets just newly stationed direct, so there's a reality check that meets emotional wisdom here. There's insight, there is a deeper commitment, things that have been a bit unclear during the retrograde period. Now we're like, okay, now I can mentally and physically commit to this, closing off the grand water trines, and again, the integration of the last weeks of emotional work, but also everything that Saturn also has been undergoing since it moved back into the sign of Pisces. So yes, there is a bit of an emotional seal that is happening. I mean, Mercury is also still gonna trine Neptune in Pisces. This is happening beginning of next week. We're gonna talk about this. So then it's really fully sealed. And also next week, Neptune stations direct as well. So whatever clarity you receive this weekend becomes the basis for next week's new momentum. Because there's always new momentum happening. There's always things going on in the cosmos. It's never, ever boring. Yes. And to keep it light, talking about Sagittarius here as well. We are still in Sag season. And for those of you who love archetypal work, the Decans of Sagittarius workshop is also happening on December 14th. This is next week, end of next week at 7:30 Central European time. And we also, me and Duna, created a Decans and Sag video. So if you want to dive into that, also absolutely feel free to do so. Especially if you have Sag placements, this can be extremely useful. The Decans are kind of the subsections of the zodiac sign, because let's just, for example, say you have Venus in Sagittarius, but if you have Venus in Sagittarius at 3 degrees or 14 degrees or 28 degrees, it's going to express itself differently because it's in a different decan. So if you have any Sag placements, highly suggest checking out that video, because you can much more deeply understand your own Sag placement this way. So all the info is down below. It's perfect for understanding where we're currently at and where your how your natal placements in Sagittarius can express themselves. So, yeah, guys. To summarize, this week is about letting your mind and heart catch up with each other. Sagittarius offers direction, but Mercury and Scorpio is still making sure we feel the truth of what we're moving towards. And this is how I want to end this week. Always curious how you guys are doing. You can let me know down in the comments below. Other than that, I wish you, a lovely week ahead. I hope you're enjoying Sag season. I hope this full moon is gentle to you, and at the same time also inviting you to feel the sting if it needs to, so you can begin to close off this very deep emotional chapter that we have been undergoing the whole of November. I'm sending you so much love, and we're going to talk to each other soon. Bye.